All right, guys, so today I've got 4 counties that I think you guys might be interested in if you're looking to live somewhere more rural. Now, let's keep in mind that with, rural towns comes, a lot of things. So, the further you get out, the lower the price point, the more of a mixture of different things, you have going on. So, you might have, some really nice farmland, some cool subdivisions. You also might have a trailer park. You're going to have some nice newer parts of town. You might also have older rundown parts of town. So, you just kind of, there's lots of pros and cons that come with living in a rural area. But anyways, today we are going to talk about 4 of these counties. And I wanted to do it by counties instead of towns because I was kind of looking for different towns and I was like, man, this town is a lot like this town, which is right next to it. And, and instead of giving you, just a few options, I want to give you guys a whole bunch of different options to check out. Also, keep in mind that there's a lot of other counties out there that are great that didn't make the video for no particular reason other than these are just the 4 that I felt like doing today. So let's dive right in and talk about some of these counties. Okay, so the first county we're going to be talking about today is going to be Roane County. Okay, now Roane County has a population of just under 54,000 people. Okay, and now keep in mind this is the whole county, not just the town. So if that number makes your head explode, remember it's the whole county. It's not just one little town. Okay. Now, notable towns within Roane County are going to be Kingston, Harriman, and Rockwood. There's going to be others, but I'm just, again, notable towns. Okay, so now let's talk about the shopping in these areas. So I've done, Kingston in some of my other videos, and if you guys have watched that already, thank you. And this is probably repetitive, but Kingston and Rockwood are going to have, and even Harriman are all going to have, basically your essentials, and they're all so close together that if, like I think Rockwood has a Walmart, but Kingston doesn't, so you might have to drive over there. But again, it's neighboring towns, not far at all. But you're going to have your essentials, your hardware stores, your grocery stores, restaurants, different, places like that you can check out. So you're going to have most of what you need. And the good thing about Roane County is it's actually west of Knoxville. So you're going to be really close to West Knoxville, which is the best shopping around. Okay, so you could only be 30 minutes away and have access to everything like that. But then, you can escape back to your little small quaint town, which is really nice. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is the landscape of Roane County. So Roane County is, you've got Wattsbar Lake that basically runs all through Roane County. So you're going to get a lot of hilly terrain out there. And that's not to say that you can't find, flat lots or flat land. You certainly can, but just in general, and I'm basing, these counties off of each other. In general, Roane County is a little bit more hilly. You definitely, if you're looking to buy something with some land, want to check out a topo map. And if you need help with that, just reach out to me. I've got access to a couple different things that we can work with to try to figure out, how that land actually looks. Okay, and so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is basically the attractions in these towns. So the attractions in Roane County, there's not a ton of them. The biggest one is definitely going to be Wattsbar Lake. Now, Wattsbar Lake is really cool. It's a great place to fish. There's a lot of really good fishing in there, and you can watch a whole, hundreds of YouTube videos on it. Top Knox Fishing, he's a buddy of mine. He does all kinds of like big striper fishing, catfishing, and stuff like that. So, check him out and you can see, some of the opportunity there. But there's also a lot of public land. So you're going to have a lot of hunting, options or hiking. If you're a mushroom hunter or anything like that, there's a lot of opportunity there, which is really cool. And you can go to TVA's recreational map. And this goes for all the public land stuff that I'll talk about. You can go to TVA's recreational map. If you can verify that it's public land through that map, then you can go, you can camp, you can do whatever you want. And so that's really cool. Now, also with Wattsbar Lake, you're also going to have a lot of parks along the lake, which are really nice because you're going to get really pretty views of the water. You can get really pretty views of the mountains sometimes. And it's a cool place to go and walk your dog or take your kids to the playground or, whatever else you guys want to do at the park. So as far as attractions go, that's about it with Roane County. Like I said, there's not a ton, but that's not a bad thing. A lot of times that can be a good thing. Now let's talk about price and inventory, okay? So Roane County is going to have a median sales price of about $285,000, but you can certainly get a home, out there in these areas, in the low to mid twos. You can actually find something decent. If you're looking for land, if you're looking for lake property, obviously you can go as high as you can imagine. But let's talk about like the lower price point stuff. Like I said, low to mid twos is going to get you something pretty nice out there. In fact, I actually just closed on a property out there from a lady who moved here from Illinois. And she got, a really nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath basement rancher, older, not updated or anything like that, but a very solid home. And it had like half an acre, really cool little outdoor area. And we closed on that property at $235,000. In this market, that's an outstanding price. So, as far as pricing goes, you're going to have some good opportunities out there. And as far as inventory goes, inventory is just fine. I believe that there's, right around like 80 or just north of 80 listings that are active right now. And, every day there's, stuff that goes and stuff that comes up. But, for right now, just to give you guys an idea, that's kind of what the inventory is like. Okay, and the second county that I'm going to talk to you about is Jefferson County. Okay, Jefferson County is going to have a population of just over 55,000. Keep in mind, again, it's the whole county, it's not a town. And speaking of towns, the notable towns, we're going to have Jefferson City, we're going to have Talbot, we're going to have Strawberry Plains, and we're going to have Dandridge. And a fun fact about Dandridge is Dandridge was actually named after George Washington's wife, Martha Dandridge Washington. So that's kind of a cool little tidbit. So let's talk about shopping. Okay. So Jefferson City, Talbot, Straw Plains, these are kind of what I would call like kind of one road towns. And what I mean by that is you've got, one main road that runs, through the town that kind of, branches off to all the neighborhoods and all the land and everywhere else you go. But off that one main road is where all your shopping is. And you're going to have, again, most of your essentials, you're going to have all of your essentials. You're going to have your Walmart, you're going to have your hardware stores, you're going to have grocery stores, you're going to have restaurants, you're going to have gas stations, you're going to have, a few clothing options and things like that. So, again, you have all your essentials. Now, the nice thing about Jefferson County is that depending on where you are on the county, you're going to have Knox County on one side of you, and then you're going to have Sevierville on another side of you. So if you're close to that borderline or either of those borderlines, you're going to also have, you're also going to be close by to some of these bigger places that have a lot more. So, that's going to present, obviously a lot more opportunity on the shopping front end of things. The further away you are from it, obviously, the more rural it gets, but still, even when you're in like the nooks and crannies, you're still going to have, the essentials around you. So, shopping is probably going to be fine. I can't imagine that you're ever going to have more than like a 30-minute drive to get to, town. Okay, so let's talk about attractions in Jefferson County. Now, your biggest attraction in Jefferson County is definitely going to be Douglas Lake. And Douglas Lake is arguably the most beautiful body of water that we have here in East Tennessee. It's deep. It's not overly developed. It's just really nice. You're going to get a lot of really pretty, lake views. You're going to have a lot of really pretty mountain views. So it's going to present so many opportunities, all the fun water sports. You're going to have marinas you can go check out. You've got fishing. There's some public land for, camping and hunting if you're into that as well. So Douglas Lake is definitely a big one. And Douglas Lake is located right around the Dandridge area. And speaking of Dandridge, Dandridge is going to be another attraction. Dandridge is really cool. It's an old historic town. So there's a lot of like really old buildings you can check out. There's a lot of fun little tidbits on signs that they have. And then there's also like the $1 Million Dike. And the $1 Million Dike is just this giant dike they built a long time ago to prevent Dandridge from getting washed away because we had a lot of flooding issues here, in eastern Tennessee. So that's a really cool thing to check out as well. Other than that, there's not a ton of attractions, but again, depending on where you are on that borderline of Knoxville and Sevierville, you could also have access to either or of those, and that's going to obviously present a lot of other opportunities for you. Now let's talk about the landscape at Jefferson County. So the landscape is actually really nice. The closer you are to Douglas Lake, the more kind of hilly it gets. But if you're out in like Strawberry Plains, Jefferson City, or Talbot, honestly, it's a lot flatter in those areas. So like if you're looking for a bunch of farmland, I would imagine you're probably going to find more usable land at a better price in those areas, just because it's not quite as hilly and whatnot. And you can kind of get a feel for that as you're driving around. But on the flip side of that, you're also not going to have as many pretty mountain views and stuff like that unless you're like really close to, unless you get closer to Dandridge, right? So Dandridge is a little bit closer to like the mountain range, the Great Smoky Mountains, than Jefferson City or Talbot. It's kind of like over here. But you can look on a map and kind of see that for yourself. But again, the landscape is kind of cool. You got a little bit of everything. You got some lake stuff, some river stuff. You got a lot more flat land. Okay, so let's talk about the pricing and inventory in Jeff County. So the median sales price right now is $303,000, which is pretty good. And I actually know of probably like 3 or 4 neighborhoods right now. They're all the same builder, but they're building in there from anywhere from like $275 up to like $350. And these are nicer, bigger homes, relative to that price point. Obviously they're not, high-end homes, but relative to that price point, they're very nice, big, huge neighborhoods. So, if you're trying to get away from the neighborhood, that might not be the place for you, and that's perfectly fine because there's also a ton of pre-owned inventory in these areas as well. We currently have around 90 listings that are active, and again, more will hit the market, more will get taken off, so just a good kind of gauge of around where we are. But I've been showing a lot of homes out there recently, and the area is really nice, the price point's good. I think anyone looking for a rural town should definitely check these places out. All right, moving right along, we're going to go up north of Knoxville to Campbell County. And Campbell County has a population of just under 40,000. Again, it's the county, not the towns. But Campbell County is a really, really cool place to check out. It's beautiful up there. You've got a lot of really pretty, lake views. You got a lot of really pretty mountain views. And Campbell County actually borders Kentucky. So notable counties in Campbell County are going to be Jacksboro, LaFollette, Pioneer, and then Jellicoe. And Jellicoe is actually the town that's going to border Kentucky. Now, as far as shopping goes, Jacksboro is going to be probably your best shopping. It's kind of, again, that one road town that we were talking about. And the main road runs kind of from the interstate, all the way through Jacksboro to LaFollette. And then there's just going to be a ton of shopping, all off that road. You have all your essentials. You've got plenty of shopping. You really don't have to leave unless, you just really wanted to, but you're going to have clothing options. You're going to have restaurant options. You're going to have, hardware and stuff like that. And now it's certainly not the best shopping. It's just, you're going to be happy. If you're someone looking to live in a rural town, then I think this would probably be maybe even more than what you would expect, to find. And now something else to keep in mind is the closer you are, what you'll find is there's a main highway or interstate that runs from Knoxville to Kentucky. The closer you are to that interstate, the faster access you're going to have to Knoxville. And so that's going to present more options as well, if you do need more shopping or, more entertainment or something like that. Now, moving on, let's talk about the landscape. So the landscape out here is definitely going to be more hilly. It's going to be more like Roane County. You're going to have a lot of you're going to have a lot of more steeper stuff. And again, you're still going to be able to find flatter areas. But for the most part, like if I was just to generalize it, I would say it's more hilly, more rolly. Okay, and now let's talk about attractions. And Campbell County actually has a lot of attractions, for all the outdoorsmen out there. So, first off, you're going to have Norris Lake, which, like Douglas Lake, is arguably one of the most beautiful bodies of water we have. Again, it's deep, clean, Lots of mountain views, not overly developed, just an awesome place to go. And there's actually a bunch of public land, on Norris Lake. Again, check out that Tennessee or the TVA recreational map to look at all the public land. But it's a great place to go camping, fishing, hunting, hiking, whatever you want to do. My friends and I actually try to go out there, once every few years and camp on some of the islands, and we have so much fun every time we do it. We jug for catfish, we, swim around in the water, we just hang around the campsite, fires, everything. It's a cool little place for sure. And then you've also got some really nice marinas out there. These marinas are gonna, a lot of them have restaurants. You can gas your boats up, all that fun stuff. So Norris Lake is really cool. Love it. Another cool attraction that Campbell County is going to have is going to be North Cumberland WMA. I believe it's 144,000 acres of public land. And now it is a wildlife management unit, so you do have to go through and check out the rules and regulations. But the cool thing about this WMA in particular is that they do allow for motorized vehicles. So you're going to have a lot of ATVs and four-wheelers and stuff like that. And there's actually at the base of North Cumberland, there's a campsite that offers camping, and then they'll also, I think you maybe have to pay like a little fee or something to take your ATVs and stuff. But anyways, you can check that campsite out, and they'll I'll post something here so you can get their information. But they'll have all the information for you if you're in the ATVs and stuff like that. This is a super cool place for you to go, and also this is a really cool place to go explore if you're someone who likes to hunt or just to hike, because you're going to see all kinds of cool stuff. There's tons of deer, tons of turkey, bear, and there's even some elk out there. And so that's another cool thing about this WMA, is because this is where Tennessee has done their elk reintroduction in our area. So there's even like little viewing towers you can go to check it out and stuff like that. And if you go down there during the fall time, you can hear them bugling and stuff. And so that's just a really cool little place to go. Definitely take your kids and stuff. There's also shooting ranges in this WMA. So if you're someone who likes guns, there's I think there's a 150-yard range, there's a 100-yard range, and I think there's even like a 50-yard range. So there's several different ones, and they have, like the shooting tables and like little gazebos and stuff. So it's nice. You don't get too beat up by the sun. But we all like outdoor shooting ranges. It's a lot nicer than something indoor. So that's definitely a cool place to check out. Okay, and let's move right along to pricing and inventory. Now, in my opinion, Campbell County has some of the best pricing around. The median price point right now is right around $230,000. You can absolutely get a very decent home out there, in the mid to lower twos. In fact, I sold 2 neighboring properties recently. They're nice homes built in like 2005, 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranchers on a half-acre lot. And when I sold both of them for right around $205,000. So you can definitely get a good deal out there. Again, you can spend as much as you want, because you're going to have lake houses, you're going to have lots of big farms and stuff like that. I'd love to go in and tell you guys more about like the land price and stuff like that, but it just gets so overly complicated, because it's like, how usable is the land, and it's not as easy as just giving you a price per acre, because a lot of times that's not really how it works. It goes more by like usability of the land and conveniences around utilities and stuff like that. So that's why I'm kind of just giving you median sales prices. But if you are interested in the land side of things, reach out to me. I'm working with several people from YouTube to help them out with land. It can be a little hit or miss, but we'll definitely make it work. And then as far as inventory goes, inventory is just fine out there. Right now, I think there's just north of like 85 active listings, so you're going to have plenty of opportunity of things to check out. All right, and now let's talk about our 4th county today, and we're going to be talking about Monroe County. Okay, Monroe County's got a population of around 46,000 people. The notable towns in Monroe County are going to be Sweetwater, Madisonville, Tellico Plains, and Vonore. So let's talk about shopping in Monroe County. Now, Monroe County is not going to have as much shopping as some of these other places. Your best shopping opportunities are definitely going to be Madisonville and Sweetwater. They're going to have your essentials, your hardware stores, your restaurants, grocery stores, all that stuff. But it's going to be on a smaller scale than even like Jacksboro or, Roane County. Now, let's talk about the landscape. Okay, so as far as the landscape goes, you're going to have a real big mixture of everything, because in Sweetwater, Madisonville, and even some of Vonore, you're going to have more flat stuff. But the closer you get to Tellico Lake in Vonore, the more hilly and rolly it gets. The closer you get to like Tellico Plains, because Tellico Plains is going to have like the Cherokee National Forest, and it's all mountain land. The closer you get there, the more hilly it's going to be. So I would say actually Monroe County is probably a good mixture of, kind of like what we were talking about with Jeff County and what we've been talking about with like Roane County, where, this is hilly, this is more flat. It's kind of a mixture of the both. Okay, so now that we've talked about the landscape, let's talk about the attractions. And one of the main attractions in Monroe County is going to be the South Cherokee National Forest. Now, full disclosure, I did not want to put this in the video because I'm kind of giving out my secret. I love this place. It's seriously one of my favorite places on earth. It's just right up my alley. It has everything that I could possibly want. And my family is from there. A part of my family anyway is from there. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it just feels different down there for me. But South Cherokee Forest is freaking awesome. I mean, it's beautiful. You've got a lot of stuff going on down there. So you have like the Cherahalla Skyway, which is like a really cool road that you can ride that goes, from our side of Tennessee into North Carolina. You've got the Tellico River, which runs all the way from North Carolina, down the mountain. I love the Tellico River because it's a great place to fish. If you go almost all the way to the state line, you're going to run into the hatchery. And so they actually stock trout throughout the year, down the Tellico River. And definitely check the regulations because there's delayed harvest and different things like that. But it's a really pretty place to go. It's really cool. It's a great place to go fish. And then you also have other really neat places like there's a campground at the bottom of the mountain. It's called Indian Boundary. Indian Boundary is a really nice campsite. There's places for tents, for campers. You've got bathhouses and stuff like that. And then the real draw to Indian Boundary is they have this really cool area that they've built. And it's like a little man-made lake that's fed by one of the local rivers. They've built like a little sandy area so that you can play, go swim, and just kind of have fun with the family. There's little playgrounds, there's bathrooms, and then there's even a cool little hiking trail that goes all the way around the lake. So, you can take your bikes or you can just go on a walk. Just a really cool, special place. I love that area, really do. Now, something else that's cool about the forest is you're going to have Bald River Falls. So Bald River Falls is a big waterfall. You can actually see it from the main road that takes you up the mountain, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, it's a really pretty waterfall. You've also got a hiking trail that'll take you to the top of it so you can look down, and you can even hike up the trail if you want to. And I'll give you a little secret: if you're into fishing for wild trout, that is a wonderful stream. It's beautiful. It's got a lot of wilds in it. It's a cool place to fish for sure. When you get out there, you really feel like you're just like in the wilderness. Like you do not feel like there's no signs of people around. You just kind of feel like maybe like that's how the world was before we colonized and everything, which is kind of a cool little special feeling. You don't get that very often anymore in life. So Tellico Plains has the South Cherokee National Forest, and there's a ton of stuff down there. There's cabins that you can even rent. You can Airbnb. There's hotels actually way up the mountain. There's a little place called Green Cove, and whenever you get up there, it's kind of interesting because you're driving through the mountains. And you've got the river on one side of you, and you just feel like you're on the side of a mountain, and then out of nowhere you get to what looks like this little small town. And I mean, it's miles and miles up. So, you know, you'll be on this road for like 30, 40 minutes before you even get there. But once you do get there to Green Cove, you'll see there's lots of cabins. There's some people that own little campers and stuff. There's little convenience stores. So they don't sell gas. Make sure you gas up. But they do sell, you know, food. They've got snacks. They've got different baits. You know, tackle, you know, pretty much, you know, the small necessities you might need if you're up there and run out of something, you know, ice, waters, you know, stuff like that. And they have like a little hotel, and so you can call and you can book the hotel, you know, if you want to go on a trout fishing weekend with your buddies or something like that, you know, that would be, you know, an available option. So South Cherokee National Forest, love it. One of my favorite places ever. Also, because it's a forest, you actually can hunt, you can trap, you can do all the outdoors many things out there. You can, you know, hunt mushrooms if you're into that. Or if you just want to go on a hike, you can do that as well. Keep in mind there's, you know, snakes and bears out there, so, you know, wear your snake boots, maybe take some bear spray, but it's definitely a cool place. It's kind of like the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, but it's not quite as busy. I mean, it still gets busy, but it's not quite as busy, so you can go out there and kind of get more alone time, I suppose. Now, other attractions in Monroe County are going to be in Vonore. You're going to find Tellico Lake. Tellico Lake is probably my wife and I's favorite body of water to go to because it's not too terribly far away. There's a lot of development there, but not like too much. It's not as much as like Fort Loudon. Also, you're closer to the mountains, so the water's a little bit cooler. It's a little bit deeper, and you know, it's a little bit more pretty because you're going to have a lot more mountain views and things like that. There's a lot of marinas out there you can eat at. My wife and I, we love to go to Sequoia Marina. They've got a cool little floating marina that's, you know, it's got a full bar with all kinds of good drinks. They've got good food and stuff like that. So Tellico Lake's great. There's a lot of public land on Tellico Lake as well. So the same thing we were talking about with Norris, you're hunting, you're hiking, you're fishing, you know, you've got all that available to you, you know, right there. So Tellico Lake, awesome. Vonore's cool. So now let's talk about pricing and inventory. So Monroe County is going to have the highest price point, mostly because of, you know, there's a lot of lake properties, you know, in Vonore, right on Tellico, and that is a high price point area. But the median sales price is $369,000, so that's quite a bit higher than some of the other places we've been looking at. But you can absolutely still get, you know, a decent home, you know, in the mid to low twos, especially in like Sweetwater, Madisonville, in certain parts of Tellico Plains. So, you know, the price point is very similar to all the other areas. You know, I would say in all of these areas, you're going to be able to get, you know, mid to lower twos, and then you can spend as much as you want depending on land and, you know, the type of home you want. Monroe County is probably my favorite. Like I said, you know, South Cherokee National Forest, just that whole part of Tellico Plains is seriously my favorite place on earth. I didn't want to put it in this video because, you know, I don't want the secret to get out, but, you know, I'm here to help, and so that's what I'm doing. But anyways, guys, I hope that you have found this video enjoyable. Again, thanks everyone for reaching out to me. Like, I feel like I'm getting emails and calls every day now, and that's really awesome. You know, I've got into the business to help people, and that's what I'm doing. So please reach out to me if y'all need anything at all, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Thanks.